What up, people? Coach V, New Breed Boxing. The first 6 months to a year of boxing training will make you way more efficient than any belt-oriented martial arts system, from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to Taekwondo to Judo, you name it, with the exception of kickboxing, in particular Muay Thai. Boxing will outmaneuver any of those styles after the first 6 months to a year. Let me explain. I come from a background of martial arts. Way before I did boxing, from the age of like 6 all the way up to my early teens, I did Taekwondo, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Judo. I tried it all. And a couple things I don't like. Don't get me wrong, they got their pros and their cons. If you're in a one-on-one fight with a bigger guy with equal striking ability, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is the way to go. The submissions are second to none, they're great. But that's not practical in all scenarios, and definitely not in a street fight scenario. And this is why I laugh, because a lot of martial artists proclaim that boxing is too limited for the real world. So let me give you a little bit of background as to how untrue that is. So, for example, not all fights start out grappling. So Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is not effective in most street fight scenarios. If you have multiple attackers, you got a whole 180 degrees of your back completely unprotected. That's a death sentence in a street fight scenario, number one. Number two, for you law enforcement people, grappling with a loaded weapon is probably the last thing you want to be doing, because that means at that point you've already let things escalate past the line in the sand mentality. And don't get me wrong, anything could happen, but keeping somebody at a distance and then giving them a good one and putting them down is a lot better than sitting there tussling, rolling around the ground with a whole belt of weapons on you. If it happens, it happens. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying that's not ideal. When you're talking about getting used to being hit, right? I don't think there's enough body hardening and conditioning in most martial arts. If you're going into like an MMA academy, that's a little bit different, but I don't see like a system yet, in my opinion. I've been looking around. If there's one, put it in the comment section, that really, in a well-rounded fashion, encompasses all the aspects of boxing, striking, footwork, upper body mobility, all the defensive, aspects of it. Like if they're good at jiu-jitsu, that's really what they focus on. They teach you basic boxing, but they're missing like 80% of the sports, tactics and strategies. That's just what I've noticed, in my opinion. And if you look back in boxing, right, in 6 months of training back in the New York Golden Gloves, back in the day, you would see what's called the sub-novice category, right? These are people that only got, 6 months experience, give or take, fighting in the Golden Gloves and looking impressive. Once you get your footwork and your basics down, you're pretty much in a whole nother level on the self-defense note than the average person. You can move around, you know how to gauge distance, you know where your reflexes are at, you've been training yourself, and there's a lot more, again, of an emphasis on body hardening and physical athleticism and developing that combination of durability and performance. That boxing, it's just what it is. Like, you can't not have that aspect of your overall makeup and be competitive in the sport. And they're not going to let you fight for anything equivalent to, I would say, like the black belt is kind of like what people compare, is like the martial arts comparison to like Golden Gloves, I guess. I hear people saying that. Like, people put that in the same category often. To me, that's ridiculous, because if you got a Golden Glove, even if it's back in the day in the sub-novice category, you're battle tested. You've done more work in a competitive, violent situation than 99% of most martial artists. And again, MMA is evolving tremendously, and guys that are putting together systems of grappling, submissions, and striking together, and there's a few already out there, but again, not something I've seen like across the board. And again, put it in the comment section if I'm unaware. And in my opinion, you're much better off just starting out with boxing. Even if you plan on converting to one of those martial arts later, the background of boxing being brought to those martial arts systems will make you way more effective from whatever point they pick up and they start showing you their system. So anyway, that's just my personal opinion. Boxing is the way to go for beginners. It'll encompass a lot more and make you a lot more effective in the early stages of the game. You tell me what you think in the comment section. Go check me out on Instagram at coach.v_. Like, subscribe, comment, hit that notification bell, and link in the description. My new online course is out. It's amazing. Go check it out. So the next time we up out of here. Ow.